I only touch greatness.
Hey, it's Carter Hutton here, NHL goalie, and coming up on the episode of I Only Touch Greatness.
Born in Thunder Bay, according to my stats. What was your childhood like, and how did you come up to getting into the NHL?
Kind of a long story.
Where did you play junior? Basically, I couldn't find that stat.
Yeah. So I played junior A in Thunder Bay, a small league called the SIJHL. I played double A all the way up. I wasn't on like any rep teams or nothing. Wasn't very good, late bloomer for sure. And then I got to junior. I finished out midget, and I played junior A. And next thing you know, I started to get really good. I played till I was 20, and then we ended up winning like the Ontario Championship. I went to the Royal Bank Cup, which was, I think it's the Centennial Cup now they call it, but it was the Royal Bank Cup, the national championship. And from there, I got a scholarship. And I just that year I was like nuts. I was like 50-3 or something playing junior A, which was obviously really good. But we were a bad league. You know, it was like there was one good team that would kind of give us a run for the money. We'd have close games, and some teams would just smoke like, 17-0. So, but when I got to the Royal Bank Cup, I played real well and got a scholarship, and that's when I really kind of took off.
So is there one player that you really looked up to growing up that you wanted to almost model your game at? And at the same time, why did you become a goalie?
Marc-Andre Fleury was around the same age as me. I loved his game when I was kind of a little older, right, when he kind of came to. But growing up, I loved like Curtis Joseph. He was kind of the man, especially back in his days when he was like the Oilers and Blues. Like I was real young, but I always remember his playoff series where he was just always absolutely lights out. And the Cujo masks, right? Like I kind of fell in love with the helmets, like just so intense. And it's definitely not my personality. I'm more outgoing. I like to have fun and shit, but those masks just I was like drawn toward, right? They were so intense and cool, and then as I got older and I got a painter and shit, and I was like drawn toward that. The guy that painted for me is from Boston, and he always would do cool designs, and I loved it. It was kind of like my alter ego, right? Like I'd have this badass mask, but like meanwhile I'm just kind of like a normal dude. When I put it on, it almost got me into the zone.
I got a question about your great mask at the Winter Classic coming up, so we'll get to that shortly. The Cujo had the sweet mask. Remember, it had the orange like running liquid or oil.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, they did cool stuff back then, and like I remember I had like a poster. So the backstory is my old man. Everyone gets to get a chance to play in goal when you're a little kid, and my dad was coaching the team with his buddy, and it was my turn to go in net, and I did well. So his buddy coaching the team was like, "Hey, like let's get Carter back in there." And my dad's like, "Fuck that! I don't want him in there anymore." Right? Like and I come from a blue collar family, blue collar town. My dad was a sheet metal worker, so I think he was more worried about having to pay for the hockey equipment, right? Like knowing the bill of like what goalie equipment is, and I think I just fell in love with the equipment. Right? You get in there, you get to wear the mask and the gear, and then from there, I think it was about 8 years old that it rolled into that. And next thing you know, I think from 8 or 9 on, I was a goalie, and the rest is kind of history.
Okay. If you were having a dream dinner party, you can invite 3 famous people other than yourself. Who are you bringing to your party?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I'd have to go. Okay, if I took one hockey player just because I know him and I love him and he's like one of the best dudes, it'd be Joe Thornton. He's just like a unbelievable guy and kind of took me under his wing. I'd have to say I'd take Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. I think that would be real cool, just hearing stories and just the life that those guys have lived. And then outside of that, I would take probably like Brad Pitt or something, someone cool, like actor that's done like a ton of cool shit and like seen a lot in life. Just to like, I feel like you get every end of the spectrum with those 3.
So for me, I always go with Tupac. Seth Rogen would be my comedian. He's from Vancouver and he smokes, so he's good. And then everybody always takes Gretzky, but I'm taking Paulina Gretzky.
Yeah. A little bit of eye candy too.
I need something to look at.
Well, I thought we were going for dinner somewhere good. There would have been good waitresses, so I didn't worry about that.
Yeah, you didn't do the question right. Being a goalie, do you have any pregame rituals? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I have sometimes too many. You know, honestly, I had like a routine that I stuck to make me good. That I thought was, you know, got me really felt like I was prepared and kind of checked a bunch of boxes. And then it was more just about like self talk, like a little bit of mental and meditation and focus, and getting myself into a zone where I knew that I was like the man. Sometimes it was almost like creating like an alter ego where I felt super cocky, and I knew that like I was the best goalie in the world in that moment. Because when I was younger, I'd have moments where I would like say I was facing a really good goalie and he was playing really well. You start like being like, oh shit, he's playing good, or I'm playing against Vasilevsky, or I'm playing against Luongo or Lundqvist early in my career. You know, it's a bit overwhelming, right? Say you're playing in Vancouver and Luongo's starting back in the day. Once I learned to like isolate myself from that and just worry about myself, and I just kind of would go out with this attitude that I was the best goalie, and I used to listen to Kid Rock cocky, like just to be like, I'm the man. And like, even like Drake, I'm the fucking man. Don't get it, do you? And I would walk out with that song in my head just to kind of create that atmosphere. And then once the game started, I was like dialed in.
Did you have a song that you listened to then before games?
I had a bunch of them, but that the Drake song was the one that I would kind of recite to myself when I was like in the tunnel, about to go out for warm-ups and about to go out for the game. But I had a list of, it'd be a good list to write down, but I had Kid Rock in there, and I had a bunch of different songs that just kind of gave me good energy, right? Like I had some Pearl Jam, I had some, what else did I have? I had some house music too, like techno stuff, like high energy when I was warming up, just to kind of get me in like a good feel good zone.
How did you end up at UMass Lowell?
So when I played at the Royal Bank Cup, I ended up getting a scholarship. They had their number one goalie who was like rookie of the year. He transferred to go to Quinnipiac. So they had an opening kind of come to, and it was between me and a few other guys. And I played well enough. They liked my game, and I went there, and that's when I really took off, right? I think just the training and the way that the NCAA is just so focused on like the off ice and the full conditioning, where I came from like more of a bush league, junior league, right? Like I played Friday night. I played Friday night. We drank Friday night. I played Saturday. We drank Saturday. Right. It was like kind of one of those things that's just the way it was. Right. My coach, who was great, was from the UHL, but they were old school, right? Like men were men, and that's how they treated us. And then I got to school, and it was like, wow, like eye opening. Right. And I think in there I really took off because I already had the skill, but I didn't have the structure. And then once I got that, it was kind of took off for me.
So UMass came and found you then? You didn't get – we always ask this to hockey players or football prospects about you've chosen this college or university to go to. What makes you choose that college? It's the only time in your life to get, other than free agency eventually, that you get to choose where you go.
Yeah, I didn't. They chose me. I didn't have a choice. It was that or nothing kind of thing.
And
I think the only place that talked to me after that was a Canadian University, Waterloo. But that was like after the fact. Nobody else had talked to me. I was kind of on my last legs. I had my last year of junior, I played like 4 games of junior B, hoping to maybe play that the year before. And I was working. I wanted to get a job as a millwright or a machinist. That was kind of my thing. I was going to college, and I had no intentions of this becoming what it became. So it's kind of amazing looking back now, right? How it worked out.